Hey everyone, Greg back again for another video. Season 8's coming up. Everyone's getting hyped up. I'm getting hyped up as well. I played a lot Season 7, and while I was playing, different class, different builds, I started thinking about new items. Items that would fill a gap or offer different choices regarding current builds. Or, well, not really new builds because everything's viable, but trying to build something differently. So the first item I thought about was for Warcry Barbarian that I played a lot in season 7, and it's a helmet. So usually what you would be doing for Warcry Barbarian would be something like this, which is a +5 Warcry Barbelm. Gives you a lot of damage. And if you can craft one with faster cast rate with the recipe, would be even better. And some leftover mods like rest, life, whatever would be the end goal. Another option is Cyclopenian War with Battle Cry on casting. Gives you a nice Warcry boost, run walk, and leap attack movement, which is pretty underrated. It's really good movement for Warcry Barb. So, where does my item fit in between all of those? Item is called oh, Piercing Echoes, which would be a Rage Max, which doesn't have an unique item yet. So there's the stats: 2 to all skills, enhanced defense, faster block rate, 40 dex, which makes sense a little bit more with the other playstyle. Um, Physical damage reduced by 10 to 15, and life after kill, which helps a little bit of the sustainability of a Warcry Barb, which doesn't have any way to recover life mostly. And the the last line here, sorry about that, had 50 to 70% of attacker takes damage to Warcry damage. So this opens up a few doors, and the way I would see this implemented would be um, having all your Warcry damage that you have already with your synergies and all that stuff, and that would just add on top. It would not be multiplicative. It would just add on top of the damage that you currently have in your tooltip. So what? Well, how do you build with this helmet? So I got a couple items that I targeted for that. Um, First thing that comes to mind is steel carapace. Gives a ton of fizz attack, attacker takes damage. Two skills, pretty defensive chest, really nice. So that's one of the would be it's a core piece. I don't know if it's gonna be a best in slot because you still have choices that you can do. Um, because you'll need to reach a certain faster cast breakpoint usually, so you're not really slow. Another one is Spike Barrier, Spike Thorn, which is pretty underused, and I think it's a really nice shield, really well designed shield, but sadly doesn't really fit with a lot of builds right now because Fizz attackers mostly don't use shields. Paladins will use pally shields, and not much else uses shields basically. So yeah, that this shield gives a lot of faster recovery, fizz damage reduced, and attacker takes damage per level mod, which is 30. So at level 99, it's close to 3000. So those two pieces together combined will give about 4500 attackers take damage, which would add to your Warcry damage basically on a certain percentage depending on the role of the item. And yeah, doing the maths on that, the damage would be greater than just stacking all skills, but you kind of sacrifice a lot by not dual wielding something or having a faster cast rate chest or an enigma for another example. Some other options I'll look into also is T-Pix Glory for a shield. Gives a nice chunk of attacker takes damage and has the 40% cast rate mod and gives a ton of block chance and blockage recovery and stuff like that. Just block rate and chance of blocking. Yeah, exactly. So the way Thorns work in PD2 is anything that attacks you, casts a spell on you, gets reflected, get that amount of damage reflected back. So that's another way to clear some pesky range attackers. Even if you block or get it, they will still receive the damage. The only way they do not receive the damage, I think, is if you avoid the attack, but I'm not even sure that that's right. So other options that we had for Warcry Barbarian as far as weapons goes for this last season, Grandfather was a great option. Dual wielding these would give you 10 to Warcries, a bunch of life, a bunch of attributes, which is really nice. You can also slam a bunch of sockets in there to put some resist, some life on kill, melee on kill, resist. Really nice option. And you have Brimstone, which is everything a caster needs, a physical caster needs. So you get the minus enemy phys res, the all skill, the faster cast rate, the life, the resist. Really good weapon for that build on the damage side. But you can only yield one of those, right? Because it's a staff. Other option, Art of the Oak, you can dual wield this for some really nice all skills and faster cast rate, some all resist as well. It's something that you could match with the shield, give you some faster cast and some damage and some res. You could also match it with a Wisp Bike, although it seems like a pretty bad option. Doesn't give all that much. You don't really struggle as a barbarian for all res, so for that reason, but it's an option, you know. Other equipment worth of mention is Sandstorm. It's decent boots by itself, but it has the attacker takes damage mod, which roll to up to 540. A decent chunk of damage, and all the rest is pretty convenient for a barb. Run, walk, fast rate recovery, life, strength, some poison resist, pretty decent. Another option open ups for boots. Metal Grid, this is kind of a meme, but you get them all res, you get the Iron Golem, doesn't do much, just maybe an extra meat shield, and you get 1000 damage stack on top of your Warcry damage. But as you can see, not much else. No faster cast rate, no plus skill, nothing that a traditional Warcry barb would use. But if the numbers are right, if it feels right, if the Iron Golem interests you, well, that's something. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the first item. Let's move on to the next one. All right. For the second item, I played a lot of Lightning Stores back in previous seasons, and I really like Thunderstorm and what the devs did with the AoE damage. It feels really good. It's really high damage, and it just fits thematically and helps with clear speed to hit really hard some rare targets or anything like that. So it's a unique Vortex orb, which doesn't have a unique um, variance yet, called Conflux. Um, the Lightning team in general in ARPGs is very high variance, so has a min damage, max damage type of thing. So this item reflects that a little bit with a lot of rolls on it. Could high roll, could low roll, who knows? That's the Conflux. So 1 to all skills, faster cast rate, 30%, 10 to 20 all attributes. Thunderstorm strikes an additional target. That's the big one right there. Could also be to reduce the delay to half the delay basically, because right now it's I think it's 1 second max level. So having it at 0.5 would serve the same purpose. But I don't know which one would look cooler. So we'll have to see about that. And 2 random lightning skill. So you can eye roll some Thunderstorm, Chain Lightning, Lightning Mastery. Would be pretty neat. So, and also the other two are a bit more for flavor than anything else. So some lightning absorb and some attacker takes lightning damage of 406.50. So yeah, that's the idea right there. Just to try to have a different playstyle for the lightning source. It doesn't match. If we look at the other option, it doesn't match the raw power of Ishuda's with the minus lightning res, the plus 3 all skills, and the lightning skill damage. Doesn't have the same utility as in Oculus with the mana after each kill, res, all that good stuff. And it's not something as crazy as a full offensive Mangsong. This is the legacy version. Sorry, I'm on Pluggy right now. I don't have the current version. But the current version has the same-ish stats, a little bit less of static minus lightning resist, but has a chance to cast lower resistance on casting. So that's your purely offensive tool for that, and you still have our classic entry item, the Odo for general good skills, faster cast rate and resist. That's yeah, basically designed this because I really like the playstyle with the shield. Like Gurki's for more defensive options. But you can also go even more defensive with a Storm Shield or a Lidless if you want to go with the faster cast and the plus 2 skills and all that stuff. So I think that item would fit pretty neatly and would just give a little bit another option. The Vortex, the Conflicts Orb that I designed it's hard it's hard to get a good roll on it. So um, to get it on par with the issue, as you probably have to get the plus 2 skills, get 2 sockets in it. But by itself, the double cast on Thunderstorm, I feel would be pretty good. You could be clearing, uh, generating those novas all over the place, or more frequently depending on the direction. We have some options there on the direction we want to go with this. So yeah, this one's a little bit less. Doesn't have has less moving parts to it. Doesn't interact too much with the rest of the gear uh, that a sorceress has, unlike the Barbarian helmet with the attacker takes damage. But I feel it would be pretty nice. So we can now move to our last item. Alright, and for the last item, this might be a little bit controversial, but I think it's fairly interesting and uses a part of the game that's barely used at all, which is basic sets. Or common sets. Exemplar's Old grants full bonus of a random common set, so it's a roll which would grant a full set bonus on a ring, with the drawback of having cannot equip other rare set or unique rings, so you would be stuck with the magic ring on your on your other ring, which is nice because it serves the purpose of, well, there's no magic. No one uses magic rings. They're never picked up. They're never slammed. They're never nothing. And their baseline stats are pretty mediocre. They don't have enhanced stats linked to being a magic items. Like let's say for amulets, you can get +3 to a skill 3. a skill 3. Um, or on magic gloves, you can get plus 2, yeah, plus 3 to another skill tree passives or martial arts or something like that, or quivers that you can get natural, um, 30 IAS. So magic rings don't have any of those special mods, so you get basic all res, life, faster cast rate, which is pretty cool. So if we can look at the page of um, sets, common sets, because it really states that it's um, normal sets. So you get a bunch of options. You get Arctic, you get Osiris, you get Berserker, you get Plagues, you get Infernal Tools, you get all of those. So we could look at some of the possibilities that opens up with this. So it's a roll, so you can get a bad one. Um, that's fairly useless. So Articorn would be pretty useless. 50 life, chance to pierce, can be frozen. That's interesting, but the drawback would be too big. Isserus, same thing, pretty garbage. And you get some interesting ones. You get Berserker, which give you +1 skills, faster run walk, some life, which is a pretty eye roll. Rest is it's alright. Poison length reduces as is its uses. Um, Plague ones. This one's pretty interesting because it's different. This stat that it doesn't appear on rings at all, so that opened up some options. You get some nice quality of life with mana stolen. You get some crushing blow, so that's kind of neat. Maybe something we can work around. We can work with. Open up some options. That's the goal here, to open up some new options. Here's an art has some pretty decent like fighter set, faster on walk, block, faster attack rating, attacks, life stolen, all res. It's a decent little bonus. Could be useful for some builds. Cyverb has this pretty interesting line. If you want to focus on killing undeads, you get a 200% damage there with some nice quality of life, 25 lightning and fire res with some strength. Interesting one. Catan has this really kind of weird one with the traps. Well, you get +2 to traps, so that's, you know, for this particular build, probably best on the assassins, but it's there. It's a +2. Then when you figure 2 Stone of Jordan is +2, but you get that on one ring. Could be pretty neat, I think. Anyway, Angelix, 25 all res, cannot be frozen. Some nice uh, magic fine, Dex. That's a nice set bonus. Arcana is really interesting as well, because you get 30% faster gas, and you get +1 all skills, and a bunch of mana and a bunch of life. And you can slam that ring if you get you can get a 40% faster cast ring with +1 all skill. Gotta get pretty lucky to get that, but it's there, and you get the complementary magic ring on the side. That would be nice. Another nice, interesting one would be this one. You get some all res, you get the +2 max res, which is really nice for Ubers, stuff like that. Instead of using a Nature's Peace or something like that, you could get this way with faster wrong walk. It's really good. Dex really good, and all res really good. So another interesting one. So as you can see, there's some of them are garbage, but some of them pretty interesting. This one's interesting as well. Get +2 pallet skills. And Tancrease, I think it's garbage. This one, I think. Yes, it's pretty garbage. But you know, it opens up a lot of possibilities. It's a fairly unique way to look at rings and to um, make magic rings a little bit more valuable to be ID'd and slammed and have a market for those because right now it's non-existent. Non-existent. So yeah, that's it for my um, 3 unique items that I thought put a lot of thought into and think they might fill a nice if I fill some nice gaps in there here and there. I keep trying to find some ideas, but I don't rush things. I do it really slowly and meticulously and try to play the builds that would fit those items. Try not make them best in slot basically, but having to open up other options for other gear pieces and stuff like that. That's the goal here. So thank you everyone. See you in the next one.